Hey guys, welcome back to the Jays Without podcast. I'm your host Jaden. Today we're going to be talking about the NFC and who will win this conference here as we draw to an end of the season here, coming up in about a couple of weeks. As we got a lot of teams in the NFC conference that are fighting for that number one seed, and for other teams fighting for a playoff spot, as well. So it should be very interesting to see how the year finishes with all these squads and who's been playing good football. We'll talk about that, and who hasn't lately as well. And we'll get into all that here on the show. And make sure you guys check us out here on Jace With Down YouTube, and make sure you follow us on the socials on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram, Jace With Down Pod. We appreciate it, and follow us there on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. So again, now get into the episode here. Of course, in the NFC conference, there are a lot of teams this year that are playing really good football, and that are, probably two Super Bowl contenders for this conference, and then the rest, of course, playoff contenders on my list here. But very good and competitive teams we have right now in the race here into end the season. And of course, headlining that is the Detroit Lions, who have just been, they've been having a great year. Unfortunately, though, they've been decimated by injuries. Almost all their defense is out with injuries. They've lost so many players. Most notably Aiden Hutchinson and Malcolm Rodriguez and Lee McNeil as well. He's done for the year. So it's a lot of injuries on the defensive side of football as well. On the offensive side, losing David Montgomery, but word is that he should be back by playoff time if everything goes right with his injury. So we'll see how that goes. Monitor that. And obviously Jared Goff, he was in the MVP conversation, because he's having a really strong season there. Ben Johnson using those pieces there really good in Detroit, and they've been setting on fires, averaging around 30 or more points per game this year, which is incredible. They've been playing really good football. And unfortunately, like I said, the defense have been decimated with injuries. So I don't know how far they will get into the postseason. Obviously, that's going to play a factor. And hopefully they might have some of their guys back. And, but their offense is really going to have to carry the load here in order for them to go far, especially Super Bowl far, this season. So looking at the Detroit Lions, that's kind of where they sit on my radar as of right now. And again, they're 12-2, guys. Despite all this, they still are 12-2. They're sitting there tied for the conference lead with the Eagles. Who are also 12-2. We'll talk about them in a second. But the Lions still have been finding ways to win. At different spots this year when they've had players go down to injury. So that's going to need to come back here late, especially during at the end of the year strong, when their last few games, and then going to the playoffs. That'll also be intriguing to witness how they respond, right? And can the guys that are playing on defense right now, can they step up to the plate in these big matchups? Because Lions most likely are going to have to play Philly or Green Bay or a team like that, and in the playoffs. And can they hold up? We know what the offense can do, but what concerns me for Detroit is defensively. Is a secondary that was already not at its best, and then again decimated through injuries. Carlson Davis is hurt also, so that's going to be a blow to their cornerback room. I'm just wanting to see how they respond to this, and can the defense, figure out a way to at least bend but not break completely. So the offense is going to continue to go out there, score more points, and have them keep winning games, right? So. Look at the Eagles, man. They're 12-2 also. Like I said, they kind of had a shaky start off to the year. Passing game wasn't really working too well. As well as it was, a couple of years ago when they went to the Super Bowl to play the Chiefs. And Jalen Hurts, he's been having a decent year, not, up to his standards, not up to the Philly fan standards. But through all of that, the Eagles have managed to get to a 12-2 record, in large in part due to Saquon Barkley, who's having a fantastic season for a running back, and he is also in the MVP conversation as a running back. So, and he's my pick too in the award. I hope they give it to him, because it'd be nice to see somebody other than the quarterback win it for a change. And he actually, is deserving of it. He's a really good running back, really good football player, and good head on his shoulders, and he just loves to go out and get to work. And that's what you need. Those are the type of guys that you need in your locker room, and so. Those are the type of guys that you need in your locker room, especially going into this season. going into the playoffs this season and things like that, as you play these tougher opponents, and you're going to need those glue guys, those guys that they're going to go out there, give it their all every game, and they're going to take the team on its back, right? So for me, the Eagles are definitely a team that can challenge Detroit, especially right now in the playoffs. They can challenge the Vikings, as well, who I didn't have going super duper far anyway. I had them maybe playing Detroit in the conference championship game or in the divisional or matchup, something like that. But as far as going super far, not the Vikings are not Super Bowl contenders whatsoever. They're a great team, but they're still got a little ways to go before they get there. But the Eagles, on the other hand, have been there before. They've been in the Super Bowl. They know what it takes to win these games, and I don't know. That's a team that I can definitely see come out the NFC, or at least playing against another team to see who comes out the NFC, right? And that's just where I believe the Philadelphia Eagles are right now as a team, but because they've won their last 10 games, they've been playing good football lately. It's missed all of the drama about Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown not getting the ball much and all this and that, and they're shutting all those things up. So hey, we're just going out there, we're playing Eagles football, we're winning these games. It may not be pretty all the time, but that we're winning these games, which is important. You're taking these wins, and that's the most important thing. So that's what I'm looking forward to with Philly. Now, again, you got the other teams here. Again, Minnesota, who I just mentioned, great defense, great offense. However, it's just not enough. It's not enough going to playing like the team like Detroit or Philly. Even heck, the Rams or the Bucks might even be a surprise to some people, right? They've been playing good. Both of those teams have been playing good football. They're both 8-6 right now. The Rams won a thriller against the Bills about a week or so ago, and they, albeit by 1 point, their defense was was atrocious, but this is a team that has a quarterback that can still play football at a high level in Matthew Stafford. Cooper Kupp, we all know what he could do. Puka Nacua is a gem. He is a stud, and he is going to be one of the greater players we have, in this next future generation coming up. He's been amazing for them all year, and coming up big, especially in that Bills game. So I expect to see a lot of Puka Nacua as we move forward here, along with Kupp, to kind of take some of that pressure off. And for the Rams, like I said, this is a team that can probably play with just about anybody in the league, and they're very well coached by Sean McVay, and who, he's been to 2 Super Bowls. He's lost one of them as a head coach, and so he has the experience. He's got the experience. He's been there, so he knows what it takes to win at a high level in this league. He's trying to incorporate that mentality, that mindset into his players, or if it wasn't already there, trying to continue to enforce that hey, we can play with any team in the NFL, so we just got to go out there and do it. And then you look at the Packers, the Green Bay Packers, 10-4 currently right now in the season. They've been having a good year. It's just Jordan Love, he's a little turnover prone. That's the only thing. Other than that, if he could just keep the ball in the Green Bay possession and not turn it over, not throw any interceptions or fumbles, then the Packers can also be a team that can play with probably anybody. Their defense is good. I don't think their defense gets enough recognition nationally for how well they play, because they play very cohesively, and they'll definitely give you problems, on that side of the ball, and should be very interesting to see how they end the season. Can they finish on a high note? Probably get to 14 wins. Can they do that? At least 11 or 12 wins. So, but honestly, I think that they can make it to at least 13 wins. If not 12. So that's just an outlook right now in the NFC. And then after that, continuing from there is you got the Washington Commanders, 9-5. They beat the Saints on Sunday in that crazy game, right? And Jaden Daniels, he's been having a good rookie season, thrust right into the starting role, and has flourished, especially throughout the mid to later half of the season with Cliff Kingsbury there as his offensive coordinator. And They've been catering to Jaden Daniels' strengths. Now, I have seen a recent dip off in that production-wise. The last couple of weeks. I'd like to see them get the offense a little bit more cohesive and do things that were working for him earlier on in the year, and get the ball to Terry McLaurin more. Obviously, that's your superstar receiver. You got to get him the ball, and I'm sure they will continue to do that as well. And then, the Commanders, and then after that, you got teams that are just in the hunt for playoffs, right? The Cardinals at 7-7 in the NFC West. A team that, probably if they were to make the playoffs, would be a first round exit is what we probably know. And but the Atlanta Falcons at 7-7 also. Kirk Cousins, who had been playing really good to start off the season. Got then after the Cowboys game, he fell off a complete cliff. I don't know what happened to him. Maybe I don't know, what happened to Kirk Cousins, but he started throwing interceptions every game. He threw 8 touchdowns to 8 interceptions to 0 touchdowns last 5 or 4 games, and before we played against the Raiders Monday night. And now the Falcons have benched him for Michael Penix, which is something they probably should have done, maybe like that Chargers game, in the middle of the Chargers game, considering that was a very winnable situation for Atlanta, but unfortunately they could not get it. So I think Kirk Cousins definitely should have been benched that game. But now they're bringing Penix in, so we'll see what the rookie can do, see if he's prepared, and see if he can help lead us to, a playoff berth at the end of the season. So we'll see what happens there. But those are, like I said, the teams I'm really watching out for right now in the NFC. Again, those bottom feeders, those teams still in the hunt, looking for a path into the playoffs here. So definitely we'll be keeping an eye on that as we move throughout the last few weeks of the season here. I can't believe it's already we're almost done with 2024, the year in general, and then of course with the season we're almost done. So it's flown by pretty fast, and it's going to continue to. So that's why we got to enjoy every moment of it, every game, everything. And so that's why I think it's going to be a very exciting playoffs this year. Probably one of the better ones we've had in a couple of years, So that'll do it for today's video, this episode of Jays with Down. And we'll see you guys next time on the show. Make sure you hit that subscribe button in the right corner of your screen. Follow us on the socials, on Instagram and TikTok and X, all that stuff. Make sure you give us a follow, and we'll see you next time.